Greetings, Patrick here with the IFC Midnight. We're one night short this episode. Our good friend Haas is feeling underneath the weather, but he will meet us next month in Kentucky as we head over to Kentucky next month. But more about that later. As always, we have the lovely Mary Wilson, and we have Godzilla's best friend in the whole world, Ben from Cadaver Club. Um, that's right. That's right. I was gonna say Titan is Doug, but no. Yeah. uh, well, welcome to the show. Tonight's movie that we'll be watching and discussing is from last year's, and it's one that I have reviewed on my channel before, but I absolutely love this film so much, and so I brought it
Oh,
back.
you did this one already?
I just reviewed it. I didn't
Did
go.
you?
I didn't deep dive into it, but I absolutely love this movie, and I want to talk about it. And that is Consecration from 2023, starring Danny Houston and the lovely Jenna Malone. She's a treasure. She's awesome.
Here it is,
Yeah,
2023. I thought it was recent.
yeah, no, yeah, I know, right, right. But yeah, I like to keep things a little bit up and up. I mean, especially with
Yeah.
IFC movies. IFC is really on a roll right now. Um, Skinner Morenik came out and did really, really well. Evil Lurks Within has come out and done really, really well.
Yeah, I have
Mm,
yet to see that, and I've seen
Uh,
parts, but yowzer.
then we have Watchers that came out and did really well for them. And then last night, Late Night with the Devil has come out and absolutely crushed it as well. Uh, Very well received. So IFC is on a roll, as they should be, because they put out the best.
And they're connecting in with Shutter. You were saying so.
Yeah,
They're getting a little
now,
crazier.
yeah, now this is something I have noticed, and I don't know what's going on with this, but I know the IFC films and Shutter have been doing a lot of co-presents, and lately it seems like most of the movies that are coming out on IFC are coming out on IFC. Uh, so I'm not sure if they're gonna close down the IFC Midnight banner or not. They call it a shingle. I'm not sure if they're gonna shut it down or not. But it seems like every movie that comes out that's tailored for IFC Midnight is now co-present with Shutter. Um, Either way, still IFC, and still glad to get it. Um, I just think they have a stronger track record than Shutter. I mean, Shutter has done a lot of their solo releases,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been really hit and miss, quite honestly.
When they hit pretty hard though.
Yeah. Oh no, no doubt about that. I think Shutter has released some really fun films. Quite honestly, I mean, one I saw I absolutely loved to death with Detectives. That was a hell of a movie. I really
Dead
liked that a
Tickles.
lot. Um,
Uh,
but some
Anything for Jackson is probably my favorite Shutter original. It's really
and
good.
I've heard a lot of good things about. I mean, Shutter's come out with some pretty decent movies. One that I got that I had to go look at is one called Z that I've heard about, and
Hmm.
I'm very
I
interested
think
in
I have
seeing that.
that one. Yeah.
But tonight we're talking about Consecration, starring Jenna Malone and Danny Houston. And real quick, first impressions from the movie. Mary and Ben.
I loved it. It was great. Did you like it, Ben?
I thought it had a lot of stuff going for it. I think like my my take is that religious horror I think doesn't hit with me as hard as it does with some other people. But I thought it was like very well shot. I thought it was like absolutely beautiful. Like the
Yeah.
Isle of
From
Skye,
Ireland.
yeah,
Yeah.
was Scotland was
Oh, Scotland.
beautiful. And yeah, all the photography was great. The acting was really good. I thought it fell a little flat there at the ending for me personally, but overall, I'd say good film.
Um, yeah, I like I said, I loved this movie the first time I watched it, and the ending came around, and I just like this is just an amazing film. Which is funny because he said it came a little flat, but to me, I thought the ending was really sparkling. Like really, it got really strong, and it was just like had a great twist to it too. And you're sitting there going like, I didn't see that coming, and I didn't. It was like one of those things I love movies like that surprise me because that doesn't happen very often. So when it does,
Right.
I'm excited for it. It makes me excited to talk about it because it's like it got me. And any movie that does that, I got to talk about. So this movie this movie starts off. It starts off with Jena Malone's character. Her name is Grace, and we see that she is an eye doctor of some sort, and she opens up the movie with she's caring for an elderly couple, and the wife looks to be losing her vision, and she and she says, I have a friend who's at top of this field, and that he might be able to help you. And right away establishes Grace as a really kind-hearted person and one willing to help people out right away. We see that, and her name does fit her as Grace. It's like she is a very graceful person. And I thought the beginning scene with the couple, and she sees them walking out to the car, and she's following them out and watching, make sure they get inside their car okay, and established her right away as someone who we really instantly like. You can't help but instantly like this character. And I thought Christopher Smith, who directed the film, established that very nicely.
Yeah, and I like the actress. Wasn't she in Kick Ass or something?
Oh my God, she's in Sucker Punch.
Sucker Punch. I was like, I haven't seen. I don't think I've seen Sucker Punch.
You might remember her too. She played Joanna Mason in Hunger Games, Catching Fire.
See, I've only seen them like once when they first came out, I think. I have some of them.
Oh, she was good in that movie, and she's also really good in The Mockingjay Part 1. I don't think her character survived till the second movie, but the first one she did.
Oh, no.
Hey Anthony, how are you? How are you? That's right. I'm gonna fix that up too. We'll be ready to rock and roll. What did you think, Ben? Do you think they did a good job establishing her right away as being we're instantly on her side?
Yeah, I mean, they sort of like showed her kindness, offering to sort of like try to help these people be seen by a specialist who could actually help them pro bono,
Right.
So I think they did a good job of setting her up as a kind person there.
So then we follow Grace home. We follow her home, and she's going through her routine when she gets home, and she gets a phone call, and she finds out the police are calling from Scotland, and they're calling to tell Grace that her brother had murdered somebody and also committed suicide.
But when like she heard something though, and every time like she says hello.
Right. Oh yes, because we do meet
the light bulb didn't work, and
we did meet. Yeah, you're right. We did meet Mr. Moo, and we she thought that shenanigans was from Mr. Moo, but that wasn't the case.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Kitty on the counter.
Yeah, what's really weird about that though is like it's funny how I guess I thought she had plugged in her laptop, but I guess she didn't, because I was thinking if that was still on when the power went out, it was still on, and I'm going like, okay, did she plug that in or not? I had to go back to look, and it didn't show it, so I wasn't sure if she had plugged it in or not, but she hadn't. And then was when the power went out, and she was walking around, and then she thought it was her cat, like maybe her cat did something. I was gonna say that's a skilled cat.
And she saw the blood on the picture too before the phone call, right before the phone call.
Right in the mirror, and she put her hand on the mirror, on the picture, and then the power goes off, and then and then she gets the phone call saying that her brother had died, had committed murder suicide, and the next thing you know, um, we see her going to Scotland. Um, Obviously, she was devastated too. She gets up there. She gets up to this huge church. That church was massive, beautiful, but that church was huge.
Is it like an abbey or something, or like what?
I think they called it a covenant. Didn't they call it
I forget what they called it.
I don't really know the different types of churches.
I don't know either.
All I know was freaking huge. And so she drives up there to well, no, I guess I'm sorry. She drives up to Scotland, and she drives
Goes to the police station first, right?
She goes to the police station first, and she meets the detective in charge of her case.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're saying that the one guy got stabbed, and her brother jumped to the rocks. Like what?
DCI Harris. Not and a good cop too. I mean, right away he seemed to be, really compassionate as well. And he goes ahead and talks to her, and saying how, her brother had, looked like he had killed another father, a father, and then committed suicide. And instantly Grace is not believing that for a split second.
Yeah.
And, yes. She was all, she was mad about it too. She wasn't just like that, she was like, no, that didn't happen that way.
Yeah, because the Mother Superior was saying, well, he was being a demon.
Yeah,
when he jumped, he was a demon. He wasn't him. She's like, shut your face.
Well, no, she wanted to do the autopsies, and they're saying, where's my brother? And he called over to the autopsy, and they said, let me know when it's ready, because she wants to go see him. And then she goes over to the autopsy, and she looks at her brother, and she's looking, people, what we have to remember too is that she's a doctor. She may be an eye doctor, but she's still a doctor. Mm-hmm. So she's looking at him, way she's looking at him, especially when I saw the eye shut, I thought for sure that was like, okay, she's an eye doctor. That eye looked missing. I thought it was missing. I thought his eye was missing, like they had taken the eye out, because it was so so swollen and closed. And that's what I thought at first. I thought the eye was shut.
They could have took it out. They had the thing about plucking eyes.
But I don't think that's what happened. I think that I think he was just later on we find out what happens to him, but I don't think his eye was removed. I just think that's where he was, because he was beaten. I was obviously that he had been beaten around the face first. Hey Russell, how are you, sir? I think I like the clinical approach that Grace took to it at first. It's like when she was by herself, she was able to show some emotions, and she was like looking at her brother. She wasn't, she was like, like with the detective, she was just a rock. She was just a rock. She was a rock like that just around everybody. But when she was by herself, she allowed herself to feel the emotion and the pain and the grief.
But it was kind of weird. Like, he's like, oh, hey, welcome to Scotland. Let's go to the murder scene and I'll tell you all about it. I was like,
yeah, we can look at the rocks.
Yeah, I was like, come on, I'll show you where it all happened to the murder scene. I thought that was kind of weird. But do you think that they were able to do that, but not only because of the murder scene, but also because it was also scene of the suicide? But I think that was, I thought it worked for the film, but I thought as I was watching, I was like, there's no way you just like show up to a police, place because your brother was in a murder suicide, and they're like, hey, let's go to the scene of the crime and I'll tell you about it there. It's like, No, I don't know.
And weren't they still mopping up the blood in the room, or like the floor from the one guy?
They showed blood.
Yeah,
yeah. It's like, when you have that cleaned up,
they didn't have it cordoned off, and you know what really was funny? It was like they didn't have that whole area cordoned off. I'm looking at that. First thing I thought of when I saw you know, they're walking. And it was interesting too, as to why, was because they said, you know, they were lucky that the police were even to go up there and investigate, because the land itself was not in their jurisdiction. The land itself belonged to Rome, to the Vatican. So they were only there by the grace of the Vatican, of the church. The church didn't let them have to have that area to go in there at all. They could have rounded off in red tape. So, you know, they were sort of behooving to the Vatican. But the one thing that caught me about it was that you know, they are on the outside, they're on that giant cliff, all the rocks, and they hadn't blocked off that entryway that fell off, where he said that he fell, the cliff that he fell off of. They said that
that's their sin rock.
Yeah, but it wasn't blocked off at all. I mean, there was nothing there even for you. Like, what if some tourists walked over there by accident, you know, or got over there by accident? That thing was not secured. There was no gateway. There's no, you know, like, yeah, there was just like,
it'd be just like going to like any like cliff vista, you know what I mean? Like, not all cliffs are gated off or something, you know, they're just cliffs.
I was thinking like the Grand Canyon, you know, they have fences up there. Like they tell you, don't go over the fence, and here's the fence, you know, like, don't go over it. And I'm thinking that's what they should have done with that, because, you know, sure as hell somebody's going to want to stick their head in there to see that, to look downward, you know, and that did not look entirely safe. I was like, and the way the rock was framed, and then, you know, it looked like you could walk, you know, as a person, you could just walk right through it. So the detective Harris and Grace go, and they look at where supposedly her brother met his demise, and that was
because she was saying that he wasn't Sandy.
Right, but she didn't. She didn't figure that. Yeah, you know, because that's right, because, you know, they said that he had fallen through there, and that's where he had died at. And then you're right, she was she knew that was the right, because there was no sand. I don't care who you are, unless you're seriously, and you couldn't do that without wiping away evidence. You couldn't, like, give him a thorough bath. You're still going to find sand in his hair. And so we see Grace again being very smart.
And she got loopy too. Like, they had to put her in the hospital or something.
But I mean, he did fall from that spot, right? I mean,
yeah.
That was a fact of the film.
Yeah. But we don't find that out till much later. You know, like, was that, and then we find, you know, we're not really sure. There's sort of like a mixed message in that last scene too, I thought.
But I mean, he did, for all intents and purposes.
Well, I think what happened was, I think they killed him. I think they killed him inside, and then staged that he fell outside. But he was already dead, I think, before.
Oh, you think they crushed him and then chucked him?
Yeah, I think they killed him, and then they let his body go afterwards.
Well, what was that whole scene where he's alive and doing it? You know,
I think that was his spirit talking to her.
The spirit was saying, "This is what could have happened," but didn't.
I think the spirit is sitting there and saying that, you know, like, it shows. I think it shows them what, you know, he showed Grace, but what's the true story, you know, because she didn't find out until later on. In fact, I still don't really understand when she found out. The big mystery, you know, the big mystery. I don't know when she found out.
What?
But yeah, well, that she, like, the member of the. Well, we're getting way ahead of ourselves. Yeah, we're way ahead. All right, so
well, she ended up in the hospital right after getting.
Well, she went out there. Well, she was. Well, I mean, she ended up in the hospital after she was in the autopsy, and she passed out. But she's
Right.
in the hospital, and right. You know, she was in there, and then you know, her clothes are gone. Her hair was tied in a you know, was like in a ponytail, you know, and she's like, I think she was a little bit disconcerted by that. And you're right. She, you know, they said, well, you have to stay here and rest and whatnot. And then she woke up and she said, no, I'm done with this. So she turns off the machine. And I thought it was interesting. She turned off the machine and she was able to get out of the hospital without anybody seeing her. But she did get out and she grabbed a taxi cab and she goes back out to not to the church per se, but outside the church where the murder scene, suicide scene was, and she starts walking toward it. She walks down to the edge of the lake or the sea, and then she starts walking down there. I think she's going to try to approach it unseen, so she wouldn't be bothered. She wanted to see the scene without anybody else there. But then she saw the visions of the nuns coming out and
oh, yeah, they were falling out that hole.
Right, and then she passed out again. And she fell into the water. I actually thought when she fell into the water, I was waiting for. I thought the detective was going to be the one that got her. I thought that he had followed her. You know, when she fell into the water, I thought he had followed her because she took that cab. And you know, and the cab driver was
driver. He's awesome.
That cab driver. We got to talk about the cab driver for a minute too, because we're not talking like she's in the city. She's out there in the boondocks. She takes this cab out there. She tells the cabbie, you know, like she gets out, pays the cab driver. He offers to stay. He says, "You want me to stay?" And she says, "No." And then, you know, so I'll be back. You know, I'll be back around in case you need a ride back. I wish in a way, I mean, maybe it's not a big plot point or whatever, but it would have been interesting to see him in the cab. Like, I don't know, the impression I got from him was that people had done this before. She was not the first person to walk there. Has nothing to do with the story. It just has them going out there and doing something dastardly to themselves. Like, this wasn't the first suicide or potential suicide he might have run across. Because it sounds like to me like he pulled away and then stopped and watched her.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's no way he would be able to reach her in time if he had just driven off and then saw her in the back there.
Right.
You know, but somehow he knew. They didn't expound on that point, but it is there. It did present itself. So the cab driver stops the car. He watches Grace. She's walking along the edge there. She sees that vision come over her about the nuns committing suicide. She passes out, and he's there in time to save her. Which I thought was a really interesting plot point, because I really did think it was going to be the detective that saved her and not the cabbie. And then she does wake up. She wakes up again, and
to
this time
Father Romero. Creepy.
Yeah, she wakes up in the church. And that was. What did you think about when she woke up in the church? I mean, was it something? Did you get a good feeling like, oh, wow, they're helping her out, or did you get that ominous feeling?
No way. Her brother's dead, so no good feelings. Especially since the Mother Superior was kind of talking the way she was about his brother. Really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think when she got up and sort of like, there it is. Okay. I think when she got up and went to like the dinner that they were having or whatever,
yeah,
that's when it started feeling a bit more ominous, right? They were being sort of elusive about everything.
And took her clothes. Gonna wash the dirty out of it.
They were filthy.
Well, right. They put her. They took her clothes. Her phone was they weren't able to rescue her phone. Yeah, she was. she definitely was hostile toward. She was actually really hostile toward the church from the beginning. I mean, even when she started doing her voice narration, she had commented that, like her brother was a priest, like he believed, but she really didn't. She didn't. She didn't believe. And so, when we see that she's sort of agnostic. Let's see, what's not the
Agnostic?
word? Huh?
You were going to say agnostic?
No, not a Gnostic. She was antagonist. She was already, she was a little bit of an antagonist toward the church. She had already developed an attitude toward them before she even met them. So she was not a church person.
Yeah,
I
it seems
think,
like she had sort of like some animosity built up towards religion in general.
Yeah,
right,
because of what had happened to her.
but we didn't know that then.
Yeah, we don't know
Right.
any.
We don't know any of that. We don't know. We didn't know any of that. Well, we know that she does have an attitude, and but we don't know why. And so you're right. I mean, she gets up and she wants her clothes back. She doesn't really want to be there. And you're right. Then she does meet Father Ramiro. I didn't think I thought I like Father Ramiro. I didn't get any. I didn't get any like there wasn't any bad vibes from him. There wasn't any like sinister vibes. What about you guys? You instantly thought that he was up to no good. What
Uh-huh.
about you? Did you think that Father Romero was instantly a bad guy, or did you think he was there to help her?
No, I mean he was perfectly charming. He wasn't like all foreboding like the Mother Superior or anything. So they sort of painted him in that light. But I think like you like him, then all the way at the end, you're like that whole sect was very extreme in certain beliefs, right? So like you have to be kind of a weirdo to be involved in that particular sect or whatever. Like even though he came off okay, but
Well, what's interesting too is that as she lands in the church, she starts having these weird visions. And the first visions that Grace has, and the first one of the very first is that she remembers standing there in a circle looking at the sky, and we find out it's like a coven of witches. And next thing you know, they're being ridden down by this group of knights, and she's captured. Um,
we don't.
uh,
I guess we don't even really know that's her yet, though. We just there's some
no,
Chewbacca mask.
right. The girl was in the mask, and you're right. I mean, but she starts vision. She starts seeing this vision out of like who the hell is this? What am I seeing here? Um, and and we see her being captured and being pulled away, and then she starts having a little bit more visions throughout. We don't know where they come from or anything. It was just like she's there. Next thing you know, she's seeing this in her mind's eye, and we're going like, okay, well, what's this all about? And the thing that it is, though, it worked for me because it brought me into the mystery right away. I personally didn't feel like I needed to know how this is happening or why. I was just glad to be there for the ride. That was my take of it.
I think the way the filmmakers approached it was they made it feel like it was her proximity to the situation or that environment that was creating these visions, right? So it didn't seem like we don't feel like she just came with always having visions or anything. They made
No.
it feel as if like she shows up here and now she's having weird visions and feels like she's not quite in her right headspace or whatever.
I didn't feel like that she didn't I don't feel like the first vision happened for her until her brother passed. And as soon
She
as he
saw a
passed,
nun at her house, though.
Yeah.
yeah, but her
No.
brother had already died. Her brother had died. And so I think when he took his last breath, it kicked in. And then that's when she started experiencing this. Like she took the phone call, then she started, when she got home and she started experiencing all that stuff in the house. and they got the phone call. I think her brother's death kicked that off. It's like as soon as
Poor
he
bro.
died. Yeah, because and we can talk about this a little later, but I think there's a reason for that too, about why that happened.
Well, I think from from an outside viewer's perspective, that may be the case, but like we just meet her basically right after we meet her, she's already having visions, right? So like, who knows what happened last week or the month before, you know?
Yeah, it definitely was a little different. But I think what they're going for, I think they're this is a director in a screenplay that does something really unusual,
I
and
think the
that is
director wrote the screenplay, right?
let's see, let's see.
I think he wrote and directed it.
Yes, he co-wrote it with Laurie Cook, Christopher Smith. Now, here's something I really do appreciate as a movie fan, is that they felt they thought their audience was going to be smart enough to get this. They're like our audience is going to be intelligent enough to understand what we're saying. We don't have to go in there and expound, on what's going on. We don't have to do that. And I thought that was I appreciated that as a viewer. Like they didn't feel like they had to hold my hand while they told their story. Like this is what we're going to do now. And then here's A to B to C to D to E. They trusted us to get to A to E on our own, and it's pretty intelligent filmmaking if you ask me.
I thought overall it was very well executed, like from direction, acting, and cinematography, and just the set piece. I thought it was all very beautiful, well done.
I think the word I think I could actually say this is like, we talk about supernatural. There's different types of supernatural movies. Ghost stories, demon stories, possession stories, nun stories. But I would dare say you say this is an intelligent supernatural story. It believed in its audience to be able to see where they're going with it, and like I said before, I for one I could appreciate that. And I think it has to do really with the cast of actors they had. I think the actors did a tremendous job here in this movie. In showing that, from Mother Superior to the detective to Father Romero to Grace, even Michael. And I mean, as soon as like, it was interesting though how I thought it was interesting how Grace was. She did not like any of the sisters. She was not friendly toward any of the sisters, but she was with Father Romero. When Father Romero suggested to when Father like when she came walking in and she overheard them, of course she didn't know they were talking about her, but they were sitting there going, God's first. Father Romero, and one of the nuns says, if I have to, I'll take her on myself. She was already planning to do harm to Grace. And he picked that up right away. He's like, what do you mean by that? No, you knew what she was planning. She was planning to do something. But she trusted Father Romero, but none of the nuns. Even though none of the nuns were outwardly hostile to her. No, even Mother Superior wasn't outwardly hostile to her.
Well, she was busting on her and saying, "You're not full of grace. You're not grace."
Well,
graceful.
Well, because I think that was her just defending, almost like defending her church because, like I said, Grace walked in there and she was, she was an agonite. Oh God. Well, she was aggressive. She was aggressive toward the Mother Superior.
Yeah.
I mean, she was. I felt like all of the nun characters were all very two-dimensional for the most part. So like, they never really gave her any reason to show any interest in them or anything. Like, the father dude was like all engaging with her and you know, conversational and like, hey, you know, I got 2 sins, cake and coffee. You know, like
Right.
and then the mother superior was the only the other character who had some development, right? But she was, like you said, pretty antagonistic in general. Both of them were towards each other. So
The one nun she kind of got along with, but she was like Mrs. Peekaboo.
Yeah.
she was
Peekaboo.
weird. She was like a
She
weird.
She was. I thought her character was very sweet. I mean, I thought she was just, you know, like a nun. The one there is one
Yeah,
aspect.
she was like a very simple person. It seemed like
Yeah.
who just like didn't really was maybe like I don't know, not socially well adapted or anything, because she was like, oh, I laid with a man once and we made black snakes or some shit.
Yeah,
Like,
what the?
Don't tell the mother. Yeah, she was
Happens all the time, you know.
yeah, she was just she was very simple, you know. She was, you know, and you know, you're thinking about her, and you're thinking about her like, you know, when you see that, you go like, okay, she's really that sort of, you know, simple, or she's really, you know, she's one of the black snakes. But you never got the impression that she was ever anything other than what she was. Um, the 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 one question, though, which they never did answer, is probably the one question I wish they would have answered was what happened to the nun with the eye? She was missing an eye. She had an eye patch, and because I
But
don't
she
know why.
said because she saw the devil,
they
Is
said
that
she
what
they
cut her
plugged
eye.
her eye out.
Oh God, I missed that. I widow,
Right?
because she already had that over her eye, and I'm like, when did that happen? I didn't, you know, I thought it was I thought it was tied to Michael. I'm like, well, did they like transplant her eye, his eye, or something, or he was
Uh,
like, what happened?
the police chief or the police detective guy was like, oh, that sex pretty weird. Like, they're pretty extreme. One of the nuns actually cut her eye out, and she was about to cut
Yeah.
out the other one, but they stopped her.
Yes.
He was a weird character too.
Peekaboo.
So
That's her nun.
the first time he had, for me anyway, the first inkling you had that, you know, Father Romero was not going to be who he says he was when he was walking with Grace and he's starting to talk about the group of knights. He says Knights of the Morning Star, and as soon as he said that, I mean, okay, it's like that's the telltale sign that something's not good here. Um,
And he
uh,
gave her a book to decipher or something because it was
well,
like
remember she went
notes
to
and
her
shit they
brother's
had.
room. Yeah, he's talking to her outside. He says, "I have something to show you," and then he walks Grace to her brother's room, and you know, and he leaves her alone. He says, you know, just let me know. And he does really seem to want to help her. He really does. You know, he really wants to know. He wants to know, you know, if there's anything he can do. She leaves him, and then we start getting really the backstory into it. You know, like now we find out, you know, when she's reading the book, and it's all in that weird code, that takes her back to her childhood, and her father has was
Yeah,
on.
Romero asked him, "Do you have any family too?"
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, "No, my
Well,
mom's dead, and my dad did it."
and we go back to when she was a little girl, and her dad's out there in that boat, and she's praying. You know, she says, "Please save my dad. Please save my dad." You know, and so, you know, and she's standing out to the window, and she's looking outside, and we expect to see something out there, that, you know, something sinister. Then we come back in, and there is something sinister behind her, and she starts turning toward it to see what it is, and then we cut away. But we get the idea of like, you know, and then we find out that her dad did survive, or did he? Because the ending,
Gordon.
I don't know. I really don't know. It was weird because it was like, I was when she visited him in prison. I wasn't sure if he was alive or not.
She brought him back to life,
Yeah, that was
and he didn't come
a
back good. He's like Pet Cemetery,
yeah.
Yeah.
church. He's
Um,
I feel
messed
like
up.
they didn't. they didn't really do a super great job of clarifying that whole thing with the storm, that backstory.
Yeah.
But if you believe him, his exposition, she had brought him back and he says you could have done that for your mom and you didn't. Why didn't you? And blah blah blah. That whole backstory was kind of weird.
Yeah, I wouldn't have went to the prison.
I think that yeah, I don't know. You know, we don't know what her relationship was with her mother. You know, like, but I because I think she stayed where she was to protect her brother. You know, like she was trying to get him out of the cage, and you know, because after he rescued the father came back completely changed, 100% changed, and he was scared. He was scared shitless. Is what I got from him, from the impression. I didn't see him as being a malicious, mean person. I saw him as being absolutely 100% terrified. You know, that's why the cross. That's why the cross on the cage, the cross in his hands when he's taking him to the restroom. He thought he was in a group of supernatural being because of what he saw when he was in the boat. Because he died, he probably did see a glimpse of it.
I think the thing that didn't make a super amount of sense is, yeah, he did seem that way, but like, if he was scared of her, why did he have all the family in their individual cages? You know what I mean? Like,
because he didn't trust them. He didn't. I don't. You know, he didn't trust them.
He didn't want them to let her out because.
Yeah, that could have been it too. Yes.
Let me out. He's now
looking as well.
That
makes sense. That actually makes perfectly good sense, Mary. He probably kept them in there so that they wouldn't let her out.
Yeah.
No. But he was not. I mean, I didn't get the impression that he was bad. He was just terrified. He did something. I mean, he could have killed them way before then, and he didn't. He could have killed them way before then. And then when he killed the mother, I think he thought he was probably stopping evil from escaping. And remember, he's not himself anymore. We don't know what he is. We never do find out truly what he is. Is he alive? Dead?
I got the feeling that he was bad. He was a bad person for locking his family.
Definitely coming back. Well, I mean,
and he came back.
Yeah, I think maybe definitely came back from the boat.
They never established him before the boat as being a good person. So like we don't know what he was like, you know.
Yeah, they didn't say or show anything, or they showed.
But she still went back.
The boy and the girl running with each other, and then for no reason, come on, follow me, and then they never showed the parents.
I mean, it's like when he I mean, he could have done away with them, you know, way before that. Way before that, he could have got rid of them. I don't know. I just think he was religious. I think that was part of it. He just was, you know.
And he couldn't kill them because she'd bring their asses back.
I mean, from my outsider perspective, watching those flashback scenes, it seemed like he was not a good person, and also had some mental health issues, you know, and it was just spiraling out of control, basically.
He you know, she still went to see him in prison. You know, she went over there and she still called him dad. She still called him dad. You know, and it was just like, okay.
Yeah, she's adopted. That's what it said in the book from my brother.
She still. I mean, she was. Let's put it this way: she treated him more kindly. She was more open to talk to him than she was with the church.
But I think she was looking for something out of him. She wanted
answers. Yeah. And didn't he say he found her by the rocks and shit?
He did.
Yeah, initially,
when she was 10.
They did a super great job of like establishing their character arc, you know, in general.
But then they took him away, and then they tried to get him too. the other nun and priest that picked him up after the tragedy, they tried to do him in too with the ether or something.
They put Michael outside the car, and then yeah, right. She started having those visions coming back faster and faster. And then we see the church still on the other side. They're also planning too. They're planning. Okay, well, and Mother Superior I think she knew early on they were going to be outmatched. I mean, she's like she even told that to Father Ramiro. Father Ramiro, I think, like she said, she told Father Ramiro, you underestimate her power. And I think Father Ramiro thought by being kind to her that he could get in, like I'll give her.
Is that why he left her in church?
Yeah, he
left her in jail. Left her in jail so that she wouldn't get in the way of the consecration, or I don't know. Like, why did he leave her in jail at that time?
Well, I mean, they were holding her for questioning. It's not like he could just be like, "Hey, let her out," and they're like, "Okay."
Yeah, I thought the next day though they didn't, like, they questioned her, but they never let her out.
She didn't get out till the very end. But Father Ramiro, she told Father Ramiro that you underestimate her, and then
the power of the dark side.
That's right. Come over to the dark side. We have cookies. But then they give him all the books to read, and then he wanted to know about the book that she read, that about her brother. And she said, me and my brother, we had a special code, and we saw that established in the house where they're being kept by the father. They were dropping notes to each other, in the code so they could communicate. And then when the mother was trying to, when she was dying outside, I think she knew that it was her best chance to escape, and hopefully her kids can make it, because Grace did try to get Michael out of the cage, and then we see someone had came up there and knocked her father out.
Yep.
That was like, and again, knocked him out, didn't kill him.
Well, struck him hard in the head with what sounded like a baseball bat.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I'm
waiting for Michael. I'm going like, okay, how did that happen? Because Michael's still locked up. She's underneath the bed. So, like, did the mom come in? Because I didn't see a mom come in at all. They didn't show any blood tracks or anything. So, again, it's like, but someone did whack the shit out of her father. And he falls down, and he sees his eyes opened up like that. That was really creepy too. And then it was like, and then we're wondering, like, okay, so I don't know what happened there, but all of a sudden it freed the brother and sister. They go to the orphanage, I guess, and they're sitting there going like, well, or they say they're going to take him to the church, and they're going to start a new life there. And then you're right. Then we see them stop the car, put Michael off to the side, and then start driving forward.
That's crazy.
Right. I couldn't understand that. And, they brought out the chloroform, and then next thing you know, the
they
car.
See your thumb.
Yeah. Like, yeah, they all of a sudden they're driving down the road, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, they're suddenly swerved into the blue truck, and you're like, then you go like, wow, that was really freaky. And then it's just like, okay, something's going on here. I thought she was doing it, but subconsciously, like she didn't know that she was doing it.
Well, like fire starter.
Yes, like you're right, like a mutation. Like a Scarlet Witch. Like she's doing it, but she's not conscious that she's doing it. Like, how is this happening?
Like telekinesis stuff, huh?
Hey, there's Larry, the cat dad is here, and now the bat has flown in. Hey, Al, how are you? How are you? Happy Easter, everybody.
Happy.
And we are talking about a religious horror film on Easter. That's right. So, wow, that was really cool though. But that's what I thought. I thought that's what she was doing. I thought she didn't know that she had this ability, or whatever. I didn't think
she probably had an idea stuff was happening, like funny stuff would happen. She just probably like, But
I don't think she realized
kind of huge.
Well, you know what though? But I don't think she really realized about anything until the end, where the one comes at her with an axe. I mean, first she's assaulted she's assaulted by the one nun with the knife, and then she ends up stabbing her. The nun ends up stabbing herself.
Well, they left the door open to the basement for some reason.
The torture dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that was
the monsters are down there brewing up stuff.
Well, but she was outside when the one nun came in and was going to try to offer. That was the same nun that said that she would take her on earlier in the movie, and so she came to try, but she ended up like turning the knife on herself and killing herself. You're like, okay, is that supposed to do anything? Is it her death supposed to trigger something here? What's going on? And then again, the other sweet nun, she finds herself in a really bad spot too, and she and Grace had already foreshadowed her death. She had already saw her death coming.
Yeah, she did, didn't she?
Yeah, she saw that coming. Right. And so the real sweet nun, that's what happened to her, and she says, like she didn't mean to do that. She didn't want to die. She's like, and Grace is there trying to help her. Grace has no idea what's happening. We all don't know what's happening. And then we hear about this. The Mother Superior is back there in the police station saying to the cop that she's a relic, because they're all looking for this relic. All of a sudden, this relic comes over there we're looking for this relic. We think that her brother found it and they wouldn't give it up. And that's really, really exactly what happened.
Right, that's why they put him in the torture thing, right? They put him under that. What the hell?
Yeah, it looked like it was almost like a wall of wood, like a wood wall. And there was this jumper.
Did they have them at playgrounds, like the wooden playgrounds?
No.
Walk around.
It looked like a drawbridge, right? Like a door.
Yeah, okay. The part right here where the teeter totter goes up and down. He was that part. He was that part. he was what do they call it? A fulcrum?
The fulcrum? Is he the fulcrum?
Hey Hobbs. Yeah, that's what that was.
Six nuns jumping on him.
But the last nun that came in, the first one killed herself. The second one didn't want to die, and then the third one came over with the axe. And then I think that's when Grace knew something was up. I mean, that's when because she's looking at her, she reaches over there, and next thing you know, her wrist is broken backwards. We hear her scream, and she runs. She knew right then something was not right. Something was very different, and the way she reacted was totally like, okay, maybe the first one she does it without realizing what she's doing, but she didn't realize what was happening for everyone. And she really actually I don't think she really did to the last scene of the movie. Then she realized what was going on, because even when she she went to Father Romero, and Father Romero's telling her, like, we can help you, we can absolve you, we can go ahead and consecrate you.
Yeah, we're your friend.
Right. And she like I said, she walked with Father Romero because she trusted him. And she walks to the church, and all the nuns are laying on the ground, and then he starts telling her about the history of who she is, what she is. And like, you're the relic, you've been around for a long time. We know that you're not, you're different. And then if you know what Sons of the Morning Star, the term Morning Star is Hebrew for, okay, in the Bible, Lucifer's called Son of the Morning Star, right? Well, for this movie, we'll go with that. But that's what Lucifer's Son of the Morning Star, Knights of the Morning Star. So I guess I thought, I don't know if you guys picked that up or not. I thought that's who they were. I thought they were going to become an evil coven. That was what they're all going to rise up and take off their vestments and be all dressed in black. but that's not the case. They really, really believed what they were doing right.
And they might have been, who knows?
That's a really good point, Ben.
She keeps getting reincarnated.
What did you guys think about that, though? What did you think? What did you think? Did you guys pick up on that at all? Did you? When did you realize that? Other than the sister, mother superior, because all mother superiors are like that. But when did you pick up that something? I mean, because they weren't. It was. Let's see. Okay, most movies always come out and they always come out there saying that they always take off their clothes and all of a sudden they're all devil possessed, right? But that didn't happen in this movie. They all believed their Catholic faith. They are all Catholic. They all stayed true to who they were. So when did you guys pick up that what they were doing was misguided?
I'm not convinced that it was fully misguided. You know what I mean? In that world. I think like even all the way through the end, like even when he was stabbed and dying or whatever, the father was like well, you're gonna be absolved. What are you doing? Get down there, it has to be of your own free will or whatever. And like he never really faltered at all. And he never also was like a dick about it, like, hey, it didn't seem like he was really trying to trick her per se.
I don't know. He didn't tell her.
I do think it was really scary though that he was willing to lock her up there. That would have been if they would have managed to get her in there and lock the door. Though now we know that they couldn't have done that. But at the time when they did, if they would have locked her in there and locked the door, that would have been really horrific. Buried alive. And he thought he was doing the right thing. Everybody thought they were doing the right thing in this movie. The brother thought he was doing the right thing. The church thought they were doing the right thing. The dad thought that he was doing the right thing. There's a lot of people.
I have a question.
Sure.
Was she the girl with the mask on as well? Back in the day, in the medieval times as well?
Yeah.
So she's like Highlander. She just keeps on ticking.
That was one thing that didn't make a super amount of sense is like
she aged.
Well, she did age to a certain point, but then like if she's been alive all this whole time, but she doesn't have like her memory intact, like they never really established what the chunks of her memory would be like. I mean, at some point she had a whole from a childhood as a little girl in real time to an adult having gone to medical school and gotten a job as a doctor, but she's been alive for 1,000 years. Like, how does any of that shit work?
Right.
And she has certain memories, but not other memories. Like, I don't know, unless she keeps being like reincarnated as like a child and then growing up and then a child and growing up. They did
maybe that's what's going on.
Well, I don't know because her brother, her little brother, he died. They were very age appropriate, Right. So I don't know. You're right, but they were adopted. I mean, she was adopted by them. So yeah, we don't know. We really, was she only appearing at the age that she needed to be in order to be taken care of? She could be hundreds of years old, but but if she was able to convert herself to look like a 10-year-old, to get somebody to take her in, I mean, she could grow up, come back there and redo the same thing. Okay, I grew up. I'm now 50. I'm 50 years old. In fact, they even do this. They even do this in the movie, because after the whole incident happens at the church, right? And the detective is looking for her. She's back there in London, which will be so easy to find her. Have you found her? Have you seen this person? I mean,
yeah. What?
But I mean, wouldn't be that all that hard to find. She's a medical doctor. She lives in London. I mean, but the fact of the matter is, I think that she was able to hide that, to project herself to hide that, so they would never see her. The people who saw her, I don't think they. I mean, like, why wouldn't the detective just do that? But I don't think he thought about it because he thought she was dead. Why bother to
Right.
look?
I mean, she wouldn't even have to be dead. Like what? There's no if there. What's the proof that she did anything wrong? Just because people are dead and shit. Like, I mean, like, how is that? How's that her bad?
And they never found her body.
Jim says that she was reincarnated as the relic, which the church knew was evil. Church kills brother to get the relic to come so they could get her. But the thing is, though, the brother didn't know that she. I don't think he really knew that she was a relic till late. Like he says, I do. I think the brother was looking for a true relic. Like, I don't think he knew that his sister was a relic. I think that he thought it was a true relic, and he had no
The
idea.
church maybe did, and that's what they used them.
Right. I don't think he had a clue. I don't think he had a clue with how badly they were torturing him. He's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Yes, we definitely know that she was the relic. She didn't know that. She didn't know. I don't think she realized that she was the relic until she stepped into the step when she stepped in. Go inside there, and they're going to shut the door on her into the crypt. I think that's when she realized that. Yeah, I'm a little bit more than that, because as they were trying to shut it right after the father died, after the father took the sword in the back, you see one hand come out and stop it, because they were pulling it, and she put out and stopped it with one hand. And so it's like, oh, I think she's now aware of somewhat of who she is. And then she goes up to the to where they're to the rock place, and the detective sees her and tries to tell her not to fall off, not to commit suicide. The detective's there, he's seen her, and she's taking her steps backwards, and then she falls. And I think what it was I think they thought that she was the fallen angel Lucifer, son of the morning star. The spirit in her was Lucifer itself. And so when she asked for forgiveness when she fell backwards, and God caught her. Remember, that God caught him. And I think that's what happened. I think that switched her whole personality, was when she fell backwards, she asked for forgiveness, and God forgave Lucifer, who was possessing her.
So after that, like, whatever, I don't really know religion too well, but all of a sudden everything's copacetic, like the devil.
It's all good.
The Lord. Sweet. Hey, mission, accomplished, I guess.
Hold on. I got things up here.
Here, she kind of floated down.
Yeah, I mean, the Father says she's the darkness that proves the light, the fallen angel. So I guess she is.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he didn't really say she was the fallen angel. He said a fallen angel.
Yeah, but that's what son of the morning star was. That's who Lucifer was. It's known in the Bible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know any of that backstory.
Well, what's really interesting about this to me is, I think that everybody has a guardian angel. Up until the point where she asked for forgiveness, her angel was a demon. Her angel was a demon. When she fell and was caught by God, and she forgiveness, it became her guardian angel.
I mean, is that true though? Because when the Mother Superior goes to kill her, she gets murdered by.
Yeah, but she's protecting Grace. When she came back, when she came back, she went over. She healed those women's eyes.
I mean, it sounds like it's a kind of a gray area whether angels or demons or not. You know what I mean? Like, what's the?
I think that's the twist of the movie. The twist of the movie was that she had a demon as a guardian angel, or evil, or Lucifer himself was her guardian angel. And then when it was found out that she held that spirit in her, the relic, she was the relic, and she had that spirit of Lucifer in her. And then when she went up there and she fell, and they say that, you fall and you ask God to forgive you, you'll get caught. And we don't see her. She falls, but we never see her hit.
But there also might not have been even enough steps for her confessions.
No, I'm talking about she fell off the cliff. The detective saw her. We all saw her fall off the cliff backwards because I have to do this. And then she asked for forgiveness and fell off the cliff.
Yes,
and that's when her guardian angel went from being Lucifer, the fallen, to her guardian angel.
but
And
like,
so
what gives you that impression? Like, what changed?
what to me, what really caught that is like everything, because for one thing, because she was defending her from the nuns. True, she was defending her from the nuns. But at the end of the movie, where you see her fall, when you see her go to the old folks, she puts her hands and she heals the woman's eyes. She's standing outside. She's seeing the angel. She's covered in blood and everything else, but she heals the woman's eyes. No holy being, no unholy being could do that.
That happened before she went to Scotland. That happened at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, because they were leaving, and that's when she came up and did it.
They already established that they kept that she was cured by the time she went to the specialist, and she just
because John says I saw her and she didn't need any help. She's been fixed, completely healed. Yeah,
see, biblically doesn't make any sense because according to the Bible, you're not supposed to get suicide. But when you ask for forgiveness before you kill yourself, is not going to work. You know what? I guess that's open for, definitely open to interpretation. I mean, definitely for that. I think she gave her life. I think she was going to give her life to solve the mystery. I mean, I think she felt like, because she already knew that a lot of people had already died because of her, and I think she felt like if she died, she looks back and she sees all the deaths that have happened, especially that young nun. I think she felt like she needed to do that. Maybe she felt that was the only way to get rid of the demon as her angel, was to fall and ask for forgiveness, because I do believe that's exactly how I saw the movie was. She had a demon for a guardian angel, and when she fell off the cliff, she asked for the forgiveness, and it became her a holy guardian angel.
But I don't think it was ever established that it changed from one thing to the other. And I personally
thought it was just her spirit following her around the whole time.
Yeah, I thought it was just basically her, like her doing all of that,
Well, I believe that the angel. I do believe her guardian was. I definitely believe her guardian was protecting her. I mean, definitely. I mean,
I didn't feel like she had a separate guardian. I felt it didn't. I didn't feel
when she prayed for her father's wife. When she prayed, remember, it already established that she was a witch back in the day. So when she prayed for her father to be saved, she wasn't praying, like the father even said that, says, you didn't pray to God. That wasn't God that came and rescued me. That he knew that. And so when she prayed, when she save my father, she was praying to the evil angel, the spirit, because she didn't know any better. That's all she knew. And so that's why her father came out all warped out as he did, because she was praying not to God to save him. She was praying to Lucifer.
I mean, was she though? Did she know? I mean, this is the whole thing. We don't.
That's
We never.
yeah, that's the whole thing. We don't know. Like I don't know if she did or not. That's the thing. So that's a really good question. It's like, when did she realize? I don't think she realized what she had on her shoulder until she got to the church. And to me, I don't think she really truly understood what was going on until that nun killed herself in front of her.
I think like I still think that they never established like it seems like there's a cyclical thing happening, right? Like she's definitely thousands of years old at this point. Um, but like they never established the cycle of like when she's conscious of anything. I mean, we see her in a flashback as a kid, and we see her in another flashback as a kid in current times, and then she grows to an adulthood. But like, they never really established if she was reincarnated, like in a cycle, or if like the cycle
Yeah,
starts
we
over.
don't know. Yeah, we don't. Yeah. Let's go to the chat because the chat's been popping here real quick. Hey, Gary, welcome in. Welcome in. Let's see. See, did you know the first Easter eggs were first painted red with the blood of Jesus? That makes sense to me. See, Hobbs mentioned that too about the Bible. See, Hobbs says there's a difference when you ask before you know you're about to die. Ask forgiveness if you know you're close, but if you end it, it's supposed to be against the Bible. Let's see. Definitely up to interpretation. Yep, I've heard so many different angles. It's funny because I'm looking at my background here, and you guys can see part of it too. Speaking of
Mhm.
guardian angels and whatnot, we can go back to a dark song where when Sophia went to talk to her guardian angel. She went up there to talk to him. That was her angel, and she walked up to him and she says, I want to know forgiveness. I want to know I want to know forgiveness. And I mean, he was able to forgive her. She at the end of the movie, so we see her driving away. Um, with here, I think that's how I saw it. I mean, that's how I interpreted the movie, where she asked for. That's why she told the detective. She says, "I have to do this. I think what she felt like she had to stop this."
The
And
I
so,
after
think she thought by killing herself she would stop it.
that final
and
scene, that final scene had a sinister kick to it for sure, because they show like the nun showing up to her about to shoot her, and then the look in her eyes is not like oh, why, it was
yeah,
just
but
like a
what nun?
like stare of like I don't think
Yeah,
so,
but see
lady.
that nun. See that nun though. By she, I mean, that's another reason why it supports me. To my, I looked at it. It supported her being changed was the fact that the nun would come out there wearing vestments and actually murder somebody. That's not act. That wasn't an act of Christ or the church. She was doing that. I don't know. She out of revenge. Who knows? Like
Well,
she was
that
like the
was
father. She was like the father, but she comes up there and puts the gun up. And she even says in the beginning of the movie, she says, "I don't believe." But at the end of the movie says, "I don't know. I don't know what to believe." And then it figures the small guardian, the small angel in the back of the car, bobbing. Like she's starting to believe. I think she's starting to believe that she has a guardian angel on her shoulder now. She realizes what it is, and it's there to help her. It's not there to hurt anybody. It's there to defend her.
I didn't catch a twist like that.
Yeah,
Like for me, there wasn't a transitional period between like, it didn't go from evil to good for me, from my perspective. It just
well,
stayed.
she definitely went. She definitely went from being a non-believer to a believer. She definitely did. I mean, she was able to see it with her own eyes. So where do you? She was able for the first time to see that, to see what the manifestation of what she had with her. And before she never did, because I think maybe that was part of her, maybe because of her non-belief, tamped it down, suppressed it, blinded it to her. But once she started believing, once she started seeing, like the axe, coming at her and being whipped out of her hand, and the nun, this force is defending her. I think she started believing. She started like, something's happening here. I don't know what it is. And then her dad told her what was going on, when her dad told her, like, you're dark, you have something evil in you. You didn't, God didn't bring me back from that ship.
I mean,
You did.
he was just kind of raving though, like he never did a good job of saying like, this is why you're evil. It's not because like he doesn't even know that she prayed if he was like out at sea or whatever. Like where's his insight coming from?
Oh, I think that, I mean, yeah, it's a leap of faith in saying this, but I believe that when the dad came back, I'm sure a 10-year-old girl would go out there and say, "Daddy, I pray for you to be saved." I think that's easily assumed. I mean,
Yeah,
if he,
but how is the like she didn't say I prayed to the devil for you to be saved, or
I don't
like
think, no, she didn't know she was praying to the devil. She thought she was praying to God.
can you like think? I mean, can you think that you're praying to God and then actually just be praying to the devil? I mean, that could happen to
Oh,
anyone.
That would suck.
it happens all the time, Ben. It happens all the time.
I'm not a religious person, so I don't know if there's anyone on the other receiving end of
Yeah.
those prayers. And like, I mean, then that seems like pretty like why even pray at all? Because you could just be praying to the devil accidentally. You never know. You just never know who's going to pick up the phone. Like why even go to church? I guess.
Um. Let's see. Jim's sitting there. Okay, let's go back. Okay, the chat's popping. Okay. Gary says he's a Christian. He had an adult baptism. Jim's saying he won't be praying for any darn forgiveness. Let's see. Hobson sits there and say, "Have to watch Saint Agatha again for clarification." This one's consecration. Consecration. But if you need a copy of Saint Agatha, I think I have one that I can send you, Hobbs. Let's see.
That pillow fight. He posted about that.
Yeah, let's see. That's a good question. For Hobbs mentions, kind of like The Exorcist. Does Father Karras go to hell after a sacrifice? I would say no. I think Father Karras goes straight to heaven. Because the Bible says there's no greater gift than one who lays down his life for one of his friends. Let's see. When you end the prayer with "Hail Satan," yeah, there's some people out there to do that. Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, this is a terrific movie. Really, hopefully what you guys are gathering here from this is this movie is it's definitely one that will leave you talking. Definitely. I love the supernatural stuff. Let me ask you two guys, since you guys are both here, obviously. But what are some of the supernatural movies that you watched and you felt any sort of emotion for? Not just watch and like or dislike, but have you ever watched a movie like something like this and got a reaction out of it? Found yourself emotionally attached to it or affected by it?
Not really a religious movie, I don't think.
No, I like Poltergeist. I was watching it last night.
Now, how do you
what
do you feel when you watch?
It's like, no.
What do you feel when you watch a movie like that, though? I mean, do you think about the theological implications of it, or are you just there to watch it to be entertained?
You're talking about this film in particular?
Well, you can put this movie into it.
Well, like I said, I feel like these like religious horror doesn't hit with me in the same way that it hits with people that were raised in a Catholic household or something. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't bring the same amount of background to these films. So like, I don't think I would have watched this if we weren't going to discuss it. I'm glad I did watch it. I thought it had definite good things about it. And everything. But like, I mean, for me, like, I don't mind having a theological discussion with humans, but like, after watching a movie like this, I don't really ponder theological thoughts per se. You know what I mean?
Right.
I like the supernatural part of it. I like the ghosts. The Pope's Exorcist, that was a decent movie too. I like that one.
I like that one. I like that one a lot too. I like that one a lot. I like the Unholy too. I thought they did a nice job with the Unholy, which really surprised the hell out of me because I was not expecting anything out of that movie. But that movie turned out to be pretty darn entertaining.
I don't know if I saw that.
Hobbs mentioned The Devil's Candy, A Dark Song, Behind the Door. Couldn't sleep for days. Yeah, I'm actually getting ready to watch that one too, Hobbs. Beneath the door, behind the door. I'm about ready to watch that too. I saw a Nicolas Cage movie that he did called Pay the Ghost. That was actually surprisingly good too. Jim says he just saw Immaculate, which I really want to see.
Yeah, I want to see that too.
I want to see that too. It's pretty good and entertaining. And then Hobbs is back to the pillow competition. I watched the pillows fight competition too.
Yeah, it was on.
What was that?
We recorded it. It was on ESPN it was probably on the Ocho.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like something on the Ocho.
We don't know what the rules were. We were still confused after watching. We're like, what is going on? But this is still cool.
Well, I tell you what. Let's get everybody's last impressions, and then we'll go around and rank the movie, and then Mary will tell us what is coming up next month. So final impressions for Consecration, Mary.
I enjoyed it. I would suggest it. I was gonna watch it before too. Glad you picked it out. I like the actors in it. The one guy from is it 30 Days a Night? The Father Romero he's like the main vampire in that movie. That's probably why I was like, he's creepy already.
What about that final scene in 30 Days a Night, the final battle between Homeboy and the priest? This is so anticlimactic. He like attacks him, he just holds his fist out and he kills himself on his fist. I was like, what?
Yeah,
weird. Anyway, tangent. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I like that one. I haven't seen 2 yet though. Have you seen 2? Was that 60 Days a Night?
Well, Danny Huston will be back pretty soon because he'll be the main bad guy in the new Crow movie.
Oh, is he?
Yeah,
I'm on the fence on it.
He also played a really good bad. He plays a really good. Even though he's not. I wouldn't necessarily say he's a bad guy in this movie. I wouldn't say that, but he does play some really interesting bad guys.
I don't think he played a bad one in this film.
I didn't.
No, he just creeped me out.
I think Danny Huston and Jared Harris, they're both really good. I mean, they're really good. They both can slide between playing bad guys and good guys equally, really, really well. I mean, really well. 2 of my favorite character actors for sure. What about you, Ben? Last impressions?
Yeah, I thought it was very well made. It made me want to go visit Scotland, to be honest with you. I thought it was so beautiful. Yeah. And I thought just because the way it was executed and the acting, I thought was pretty good. I thought it was really well constructed, but then like I said, at the end there, it fell a little flat for all the reasons that we've just been discussing. But
I like how they finished it up where they went to each part, she's the one that did the blood and then fixed the eyes, and she's the one that drove the car. It was explaining at least some of the parts.
I thought it was an interesting reveal, but at the same time, they didn't establish her cycle or her. If it didn't have the same kind of impact as if she had a consciousness about it, or if you know what I mean? Just they just didn't quite establish that. So I felt
it didn't necessarily always work either. I mean, I don't think it there's 2 people that were killed in front of her that she could have saved. One was the nun that killed, sliced her own wrist. She went over there to try to stop it, and Father Romero himself. You know, she could have stopped that as well.
Yeah, but maybe she was afraid of how they would come back. They would come back
Yeah.
like her dad.
I mean,
It's just
like a nun, if you cut your wrist like this, like, and in 1 second there's a doctor there who can't apply pressure to the wound or apply it.
I think
She's
she
got
tried that,
she's got a habit on. Like, take that cloth and wrap it.
I mean, she's a fucking
uh,
doctor. I mean,
Oh, you know, I just thought when she went over there and I thought she was trying to do that. She was trying to put pressure on it, but I mean, I think that she had help with her knife work, and so I don't think she was going to be able to get in there and to save it. But it was still interesting in how, and also how, but again, her guardian angel, that's what it was doing. It was guarding her. It was protecting her. I love this movie. I think this movie is definitely one of my favorite IFC Midnight films, if not one of my favorite films all in. I'm with you, Ben. I thought the acting was really, really strong. I thought the story was really good. I was extremely smart. It didn't have any tropes, didn't have any cliches, nothing. Oh God, I've seen this 1,000 times. It didn't have any of that. I thought the story was really original, which I really
I thought it
appreciated.
had a bunch of tropes.
Huh?
I thought it did kind of have a bunch of tropes.
Really? I didn't know. What, like the Mother Superior being Mother Superior? You know what? You know what though? But I guess it's just one of the. I guess it's just one of those things for. I don't know. It's just like no, I didn't get it. I didn't feel like it. There wasn't any jump scares. There weren't any. Like black robes. Like they're all Satanists. Oh, okay, yeah, we haven't seen that one before. No, I think they played it all straight. They were Catholic priests and nuns, and that's where they stayed. I thought the ending had a really nice twist. The last scene was really interesting. Wasn't what I was expecting. Um,
I like that the last image of the film was the first image of the film. I thought that was kind of a nice little thing they did.
Full circle.
All right. World ratings, 1 to 10. Mary Wilson.
7.5 to 8. I liked it a lot.
It's a tough one.
Yeah, I liked it.
It's a tough one. I thought like execution, I'd give it a solid like 8.5, 9. I thought it was like really well made, but I felt like the screenplay was a little lacking. I was like really engaged in the first 2 acts, and then going into the third act, it just felt a little flat for me. I'd say, depending on who if I'm recommending it to someone who's like all into like religious horror, then it'd be quite a bit higher, But like in general, I'd say 7.5. I have to knock it down just because of the story.
Right. We have questions.
I thought it was like I thought it was beautifully made. I thought it was like very well handled, like almost every aspect of the film, with the exception of the screenplay itself. There, third act, but
I would definitely rank this 9.5. I thought Jena Malone and was absolutely wonderful. Danny Huston was great. The supporting cast was really strong. Janice Suzman as the Mother Superior. This has definitely been one of my favorite IFC Midnight films that we've covered in this series by far. Highly recommend it. Yeah, this is a good one. Yeah. Mary, what are we watching next month?
Rust Creek.
All right. I've been looking forward to this for a while. Rust Creek. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It even stars an old friend of ours. Actually, 2 people in this movie. One actually worked as a crew member. That's our friend Marshall, who has a YouTube channel, and he worked on the film. And then one of the stars of the film is Daniel Hill, who's actually been on a guest on both the Midnight Hour and 8 Questions With. And so we do have a little bit of ties to Rust Creek, and I've been looking forward to that. Good pick, Mary.
What's your date you got picked for it?
Well, the date for Rust Creek will be April 28th, and that will be here on my channel. That will be here on my channel. And then I do believe we circle back around to Ben. Ben, I believe, is going to be the next person who is up. And we all know Ben's picks. They're always outstanding and interesting. So
Shouldn't it be Haas?
I thought he did Crow's. I think it's you because I think he did Crow's Nest.
I just did Proxy though last month.
He just did Proxy.
Oh, okay. So it will be Haas's turn. Oh, Proxy.
Yeah, he did Proxy.
Okay. Oh well, we know well, Haas the same thing. You know, Haas is going to come with something interesting. He came out with The Den, which is one of the best films we reviewed on here. The Den is a trip. And Crow's Nest. We don't know what he has in mind, but knowing Haas as we do, it'll be zany. And of course, then after that, Ben will be back, and I'm sure he's already thinking about it already. All right, you two, what do you guys got going on with your channels?
I drew a picture for the movie. Oh, Consecration.
Nice.
There we go.
That's
Does it
very
look like
cool.
her, Jena Malone?
That looks like Jena to me.
And that's the knife they kept stabbing her, trying to get her with. So nice Easter photos. Yeah.
Let's see. Russell is watching Consecration even as we were talking. He says he's never seen this one before, but he's liking what he saw, and he is still watching it. Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one, Russell.
It's funny. My husband has to go to the eye doctor tomorrow too.
Oh, zoinks!
Jena Malone.
That's right. Oh, I will say. How about you, Ben? What do you got coming on? I was shocked. I tell you, to find out you had not saw Godzilla yet.
I am. I think I'm gonna go tomorrow. It's been like I have a motorcycle and no car, so if it's raining, I'm not gonna drive to the theater and having.
No,
I'm sort of like I'm still making some stupid purchases and everything. Like, well, I don't know. I'm still spending money. I went to Hawaii last week to.
I saw.
What?
Let's say how was it, but it was great.
It was really my nephews were on spring break, so it was great to hang out with them. But yeah, just like taking Ubers to the theater and stuff. I'll just wait for it to not rain. So I'm looking forward to Godzilla. I also want to see Late Night with the Devil.
Me too.
Me too. I definitely want to see that. That looks to be absolutely. Like I posted this on my Facebook page. I posted that I don't know if it was me or not, but it does seem like every time that IFC Midnight puts the word devil in their movies, the movies are always pretty freaking good. It's just like
I don't know though. I think I have one that's
Devil's Doorway was good.
Yes. Devil's Gate, that was a good one too. Wow. Yeah, that was a good one too. That was a good mystery.
I have The Cured too. I haven't watched.
Yeah. That's one I'm sure we'll be covering somewhere down the line for sure. That was
I actually own it.
Oh, you got The Cured. Nice. Oh, look at Jack. We have made Mary into an IFC collector. That is for sure.
Yeah, I have a lot of movies.
My
husband said,
"Yeah, I can't wait to see. I can't wait to see what Ben's review on Godzilla is. I'm still waiting for that one picture. I'm still waiting for the one picture on Saturday night with the fellas and pizza night.
I have I got laid off, but I'm still one of my last things I wanted to do was 3D scan that Geigen and print him big. And they're my old coworkers are still printing him, so he's gonna be like 25 and 5/8 inch tall, so he's gonna be fucking huge. So that's gonna be fun to paint that guy.
I can't wait for that. That'll be like your new co-host on our show. It'll be Ben and Guy again hanging out.
I have some big figures, but that's gonna be my biggest figure.
All right, boys and girls. As far as me, I'm gonna have wow, we're getting back with our new week of 8 Questions with. On Tuesday, we have composer Sean Murray will be with us. He has done so many cool ass movies, um, just tons of a lot of martial arts, action adventure movies. He's done westerns. Um, his dad, Don Murray, was a very, very well known actor during the 50s and 60s. He did a ton of great westerns. He acted with some tremendous co-stars, and his son has done very, very well as a producer and as a film composer. He will be here with us on Tuesday. Larry, the horror cat dad, he'll come and pay us a visit on Wednesday. So that'll be very, very fun. We'll be talking horror and cats on Wednesday, and then our own lovely Mary Wilson will be invading 8 Questions with this Friday night. So I expect all you guys to show up for that. We'll be talking at 8 o'clock. Me and Mary. We'll be talking about, of course, this series here, and we'll be talking about all sorts of other fun topics, including maybe some pillow fights. I have to go look at this now. I have to go see the.
Yeah, look it up. It's fun.
So that will be this Friday at 8 o'clock, and that will be a lot of fun. And that's it for me. So with that, I will let Mary and Ben say goodbye, and then I'll say goodbye, and then we'll see you guys. We'll see you guys.
Celebration.
That's right.
Or consecration.
All right, you guys want to say goodbye? All right, Ben, say goodbye. Mary, thank you. Real quick, too, our thoughts and prayers are out to our friend Kyle, who's in the hospital. He's supposed to be there for another 2 weeks. Our prayers and thoughts are out to him. And
Yes.
Get well soon, Kyle. And of course, our prayers and thoughts are out to our good friend Dave Oliver, who passed away this week as well. I'm sorry sorry that happened. It's terribly sad, and you will be missed. All right, that is it for me. If you want to hang out for a minute, Mary, that'd be awesome. The rest of you guys, we will see you on Tuesday. Peace.
Bye.